Well, I mean, it's common, right? I mean, this is the strike that's referred to as the caveman strike. It's like intimating that this is the first go-to strike of most people. Um, eh, so I mean, that's one reason. The forehand strike, it's like at least half of the game until you start, doing the uppercuts and the horizontal cuts. So it's very common. Um, Also, if you're reductive, like I often am, um, pretty much everything from the forehand side can be treated like angle one. So, um, and that leaves only one other side to work with. Um, the other reason it's really valuable, especially from the JKD perspective, is that you get to start looking at how do different arts deal with angle one. And um, in some arts, it's like what quality of an angle one are we dealing with? Will change how you approach it. So, but again, getting back to that JKD perspective, if you're looking at multiple martial arts and you want to really see how looking at a blend of different sources is going to affect you, then picking one stimulus and putting that same stimulus into a bunch of different systems and seeing how those systems churn out the responses, that's going to be very revealing from the perspective of analyzing the arts, but also from the perspective of analyzing what works for you personally. Because you're going to have a lot of different things that influence the way that you end up moving and the kinds of tactics you end up employing. You may be fast, and you may be extremely brave, and then you would be like, oh, okay, so I just want to crash all the time, right? Or you may not be so brave, but you may be really flexible, and so maybe using measure and maybe like just slipping out of distance but reaching in is going to be your mainstay. Or maybe you have really high sensitivity, and so making contact as soon as possible is going to be the thing that you want more. And you may or may not find the contacts that you want in the art that you're studying. You might find it in another art. And you might find that in another art that doesn't use sensitivity the same way. So it's really nice in terms of being able to analyze, to have one stimulus, and look at the way that a bunch of different arts will address that. Yeah, it's going to yield a lot of information. It's kind of like having a control group.
Which of your influences came out today? If you can remember, track back all the names and all the systems that came out in this exploration of angle one, from provocation to knife to karambit to stick to machete. Let's name them all.
Okay,
Who
really?
came out today? Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The root stuff, obviously the Kabiyama JKD. It's my foundation. I'm seeing a heavy impact from KI. I'm seeing a very heavy presence of the SSBD. Once we're in close, I'm seeing my Muay Thai, and my clinch game from Larry Hartzell, from Greg Nelson, and all of that stuff came from Guru Dan. As far as I'm concerned, most all of the martial arts movements in North America circled around Guru Dan in one way or another. When I get in sort of trapping range, very heavily influenced by Pikiti and Philip Jelena. Vunak's in there all the time, especially like where I'm getting creative and I just start hitting a lot. Malmorny is, like I said, the SSBD is showing up very heavily these days in everything I do. It's kind of hard to take it away. My body is, my back is rebuilding because of my work with Alvin Ganano and SBL. Yeah, there are a lot of teachers that come out in the details. I have to say something about Aldo Valente, who's my Bolognese sword teacher, because the whole concept of provocation, I didn't learn it from him, but it was solidified through his work. Romeo Macapagal and Fabrizio Filigrano have definitely given me my measure, and like again, those systems load in front of everything else I've learned now, because my management of measure is just so vastly improved. So yeah, they're always talking in my head while I'm moving. You know, the stuff that I got from Russia House, whether it's Riddell or
Celestino.
Norman Elisar. I'm planning on spending a whole bunch more time with Celestino Macachor because he uses measure, but for percussion, and as opposed to cutting.
So, final question. What do you hope that the people who, purchase this video, watch this video, and think it's amazing, what do you hope they gain out of this? And what do you hope they do afterwards?
Well, I hope they learn it well enough to see through how amazing it is, and see, like, start seeing where it's flawed and where, like, they need more work, and feel inspired to look at more than one thing. Anybody that ends up putting a teacher up on a pedestal, and certainly any of my students are discouraged from doing so. I want them to be inspired by the journey, but also be fortified in the idea of the journey's not over, and no teacher has got the end all information. The more sources you draw from, the more of a personal expression you're going to have. The fewer number of sources, the more likely you're going to mimic. And we don't want to mimic, we want to express.
Wouldn't it be an amazing byproduct as well for something you've said to have inspired somebody enough to go seek out Maul and Romeo?
Absolutely. We have so many amazing instructors. I don't get to see nearly as many people per year as I want to because I've slowly come to the realization that you can love everyone, but you're not going to be able to draw a complete experience from everyone at the same time. So you're going to have to make choices. But there are so many great instructors, and the ones that I'm choosing right now are certainly the top of my list. But there's many great instructors. If you want your Silat, if you want that sweeping stuff, I definitely suggest that you go to Maul. And that's not to say don't go to the Innocent Academy and learn Majapahit, because he has an excellent way of organizing the system so you can see the whole thing. But then go to Maul to work out the details and see, like, an alternative application, because the angles are different. The moves are the same, but the angles are different. The mode of application is different, and so that'll give you double the perspective. And then, if you want to get dynamic on the ground, like, work with Alvin, because his focus on conditioning Westerners to be capable of moving like rural Indonesians who live on the ground, it's priceless. Like, you really can't go there from here without someone giving you that education, and you see the movement already happening in North America. It's like, oh, we're doing animal movement, and it's like, well, yeah, Silat's been doing animal movement for a long time. so maybe, go see people like that and get the functional side. If it was possible for everybody to go train with Romeo Macapagal, I would say do it. But it is possible to get in time with Fabrizio Monsieur Filigrana, and he is focused on teaching it exactly the way that Macapagal has been teaching us. So get time in with him if you get the chance. There are so many people, and the truth is, a lot of the grandmasters, like, they're joking now about not necessarily being around next year. So I don't think those jokes are very funny, but I think that there's a really good point there. It's like, you want to see the grandmasters at some point. There's all these young bucks, at 50, I'm calling myself that, but there's all these younger folk that are burgeoning right now. But definitely get out to see the grandmasters before the chance has passed.
Why are you doing all this? Why are you so meticulous and careful with not only how you digest information, but how you disseminate that information? Why are you doing this?
I do it because I love it. I do it because it keeps me sane. Um, if I couldn't do something that made me feel like I was developing, that gave me opportunities to feel joy, um, that gave me the opportunity to share something of value. And when I say something of value, I'm usually talking about empowering people. Um, I want to give people themselves, and because it makes me feel good. So really, when it all comes down to it, I'm super selfish, and I just want to feel good. So that's why I'm doing it. I'm in love with movement, whether it's martial arts or dance or circus. It doesn't really matter what it is. I'm in love with mastery. Um, I could stand and watch a master bricklayer build a wall for the entire day and just enjoy watching the mastery of that. So I get the opportunity to meet people who have committed their a significant portion of their lives to developing themselves and sharing with them. It's just extraordinary. So,
Shawn, thanks very much for spending this time with us.
thank you.